Hello, my friends. Welcome to My Left Ear. It is Sunday, August 7th. No, August 6th, excuse me. Sunday, August 6th. And I am here to do the weekly runes, which the reading will go from tomorrow, August 7th to August 14th. All right? If you're here, then you're probably a subscriber to My Left Ear, but if you're not, tomorrow I'm going to come back with a My Left Ear sort of political overview that I do every week. But today is just the weekly runes, but I'll be back tomorrow with a much longer, extended reading about the current political situation and everything else. And this is a left-leaning YouTube channel, just so you're forewarned. And when I'm not here, I'm an author. I'm working on 2 books right now, rewrites, and I am a change agent, which means I do private sessions and I use psychic coaching. And there is a video on psychic coaching, which is video 34. I made it a long time ago, if you want a little extra information. And video on my hypnotherapy is video 10, if you want to get more detail about what I do privately through Zoom. And I have a Patreon channel, patreon.com/Carrie Freeman. And I started off this Patreon channel by teaching all 25 runes. And if you joined for $8 a month, you could go back and study all the runes. So here we are with the weekly. So I have a notation about last week, which was July 31st to August 7th. That the last rune of that reading last week was disruption. And last Tuesday was the week we had the third indictment, which I called the big tamale, because this third indictment really covers January 6th, even though insurrection is not mentioned in it on purpose. Jack Smith, the brilliant Jack Smith, the one-of-a-kind Jack Smith, constructed indictment 3 in such a way that is easier for him to win and accomplish pretty much the same thing. He's just really smart. But the disruption from last week, I just want to remind you, change, freedom, invention, and liberation are all attributes of disruption. It is so powerful, this disruption, that it can be such as to rip away the fabric of what we previously knew as our reality or our security. And it says the more disruption in your life, the more significant and timely. So last Tuesday, this began. Now I'm going to just tell you a quick story. Last Tuesday morning, I ended up, because I sometimes wake up ridiculously early, naturally, and I get up and I write and I look at the news, and then if I have time, sometimes I go back to sleep. But I was up very early, and I have a Twitter friend up in Northern California who's like a journalist and wildly smart. And we have talked as early as 6 o'clock in the morning at times. So she and I were talking on the phone about this third indictment. It hadn't come down because it was early Tuesday morning. And I said, if not today, by tomorrow. And she agreed with me. And then we started in-depth talking about Donald Trump. And I said, you know what, Maria, I'm just, so while I'm on the phone with her, I just stuck my hand into the bag because we were so into talking about Trump that I just kind of wanted, it was like one of those, you know, my left ear moments. And Tuesday morning, while on the phone with Maria, I pulled Stand Still, which is a huge cautionary rune, okay? And Stand Still is really, the spiritual life is upon you, okay? It's not good. So I interrupted her because she's not that spiritually oriented, but she accepts what I do and who I am. And I said, so I got to tell you what I just pulled. And so I told her, and I read, and she went, oh my goodness. And 3 hours later or 4 hours later, boom, his indictment came down. And it's not good. Now, there's a reason I'm telling you this. So this is going to come full circle at the end of my reading here today. All right, so here we start with today's runes. Just overall question, what's the energy of the week? What can we expect? It's that simple. So the first rune I pulled was the Gateway rune, and I pulled it in a reverse position. Now, I think when you're looking at it, that's the reverse. All right. So this is cautionary, the Gateway reversed. And it says, even in times of accelerated growth, and we are in accelerated growth, you will have reason to halt along the way, to reconsider the old and integrate the new that is coming, according to my left ear. The new, it's moving in like a slow steamer ship. This rune demands contemplation because the passage depends on the quality of our attitude. And you know, it's hard to maintain a good attitude with these ups and downs, good news, bad news, good news. He's in, he's out, he's wrong, he's right. But this rune demands contemplation because the passage depends on our attitude. So hasty decisions may cause regret. And that would be, you know, Trump or his attorneys, the hasty decisions. I mean, last week, one of his new attorneys went on, I think it was Fox, and admitted to guilt that's in the indictment. The guy was just talking and he thought he was doing a great thing. And everybody went, oh my heavens, he just admitted to one of these indictments. So that would be called an impulse, not well thought through, hasty, may cause regret. So that happened. Think clearly prior to decisions, as rushing may cause regrets. Again, watch impulses. I think we can all learn from that, right? Be still and wait on the will of heaven. And when I'm transposing things onto a document, I'll put my own thoughts in brackets because they'll just start coming in. And for me, and for my left ear, this message on Gateway reversed is, it's telling us to just be kind of quiet and centered and observant this week, okay? Now we're going to go on. Defense. Defense. It's kind of a Z in a way. All right, so defense says, as we are tested, and boy, are we tested, my friends, we fund the power to avert blockages and defeat. That's what the defense rune, upright. If there is an obstacle, even a delay may prove beneficial. Remember this. Even if there is an obstacle, a delay may prove beneficial. So don't get caught in one way of thinking. Patience, we get this message a lot. Patience is the counsel here. It's even in the previous one, Gateway, opposite. No acting needy. No acting needy, okay? You know, you've gotten that message twice. And I'm as a you, you know, the universal you. So this rune, the defense, speaks to the difficulty that can arise at the beginning of new life. And once again, this is positive because it's telling us there's new life coming. I believe you're feeling it. I know I am. But like I said last week, I don't think everything's going to be easy. And maybe we won't get everything we want, but new life. Okay, I feel it in my bones. The ability to foresee consequences before we act is a mark of the profound person. And what's so interesting about that, and I didn't put a note in here, is that that's the opposite of Donald Trump. He is unable to see consequences. And you know what? A lot of people are. It's almost like, we've got this part of our brain that's sort of situated up front, and it's called the frontal lobe. And part of the frontal lobe is like an executive function of being able to anticipate what's coming. And it's almost like none of the GOP have a frontal lobe, but certainly Donald Trump does. And because of his impulses, he cannot regulate, all right? Which is, I think, why ask him to, why put a gag order on him? He can't do it. So the ability to foresee consequences before we act is a mark of the profound person, and that would not be the ex-president. And it says, avert difficulties through right action. And the right action is thinking, being measured, looking at all sides, not jumping in and being impulsive. So it's reflective, it takes its time. And now we come to the third rune, which is really good, because I was like waiting for, come on, we need a breakthrough. Come on, we need something really positive. And I got Berkana. Berkana is like a bee. It looks like a bee, and it's about growth. It's the rune of growth, okay? Good. Represents a form of fertility that fosters growth, both symbolically and actually. The growth may occur in affairs of the world. It leads to a blossoming and ripening. Berkana, that's what it's called. Berkana is concerned with the flow of beings into their new forms. See, that's part of our change. Into their new forms. And I wrote, we are going into new times and new forms. The advice is, first, disperse resistance, like get rid of the resistance, meditate it away, and then accomplish the work at hand, clearly, directly. And any dark corners should be cleansed. And the dark corners, I'm thinking, what are those dark corners? Wishes of violence, wishes of, death and destruction, those dark corners, that's what comes to my mind. And we all have these dark corners because we're very frustrated, but be aware of them. Don't let them own you, okay? You can say, when the dark comes up, you can say, thanks very much for sharing, and I'm fine. You can go now. Just say, thanks for sharing, you can go now. Thanks for sharing, you can go now. So modesty, patience, fairness, and generosity are called for here. And my left ear wrote, do not gloat. Do not get ahead of your skis and cocky. Something good happens for the sake of you and I in the United States. Let's be grateful and just keep that energy going. So be clear, be controlled. And this is how the progress and blossoming happens. Now here's the juicy. I pulled a clarifier, and the clarifier I pulled was, again, stand still. Now, this was what I pulled for Donald Trump last Tuesday morning, hours before he got indicted for the third time. That's why I talked about this at the beginning today, because I had just pulled this again, like 15 minutes ago. So just let me remind you once again, I have it written down. This is the chilliest rune in the whole deck, Standstill. All right, it even looks chilly, doesn't it? And the things that are associated with it are withdrawal, ice. All right, the winter of the spiritual life is upon you. You may find yourself, and this is really directly at Donald Trump, okay? It's not about you and I. It's about Donald Trump, what's going on with him, or the GOP. May find yourself entangled in a situation to whose implications you are, in effect, blind. And that would be indictments in Jack Smith and what's coming. He may feel powerless to do anything except submit. Positive accomplishment is unlikely now. There is a freeze on useful activity. All your plans are on hold. This is totally Donald Trump and the GOP. Fighting resistance and trying to hold on, because he will, can lead to shallowness and a sense of being out of touch with life. Now, he already is shallow, okay? And he already is out of touch with life. So this just deepens it. It just deepens it. I mean, it's like he's in a standstill place. He's roped in, you know, he's been lassoed in by a great cowboy. Now, standstill usually requires a sacrifice of the personal. Oh my heavens, like now he's going to sacrifice his whole life. It's his fault. It's his own doing, but he's done it, and probably for his relatives too. And finally, standstill says, at this time, you cannot hope to rely on help or friendly support. That's pretty, what's the word? Literal? It's literal. So that's for this coming week. We don't see a week now without a surprise. You know, it's like every week there's something. So there will be more, and I'll have more to say tomorrow. So you will see me tomorrow with a long My Left Ear presentation. And I do have a quote for you for this Sunday morning. It's by Isabel Allende, a best-selling, world-renowned Chilean author who is beautiful and 81 years old. You should look up a picture of her. She's fantastic. She wrote or said, "Fear is inevitable. I have to accept that, but I cannot allow it to paralyze me." You know, Carrie Fisher, it's in my community section, said something very similar, you know. Fear is inevitable. I have to accept that, but I cannot allow it to paralyze me. So I think all of us can look at that wise quote and use it every day, you know. Almost like make friends with your enemy if your enemy is fear. Say, okay, we're going to do this together. We're going to do it anyway. You know, I'm nervous about it, but we're going to do it anyway. All right, my friends, I'm going on to my Sunday, and you have a good 24 hours. I'll see you tomorrow. The funny thing about my hair growing out is that I can actually see how fast it's growing, and it's growing pretty fast. My hair is healthier for having not colored it or pulled on it or blow dried it. It actually is getting thicker, and I'm taking a massive amount of vitamins. I'm just about to order saw palmetto, as I've done a lot of research. So, and everybody's been very positive, except I got one message on an Instagram, and it said, I've tried this 3 or 4 times, it never works, go back to the bottle. So I wrote her, and I know her because she had been my client a long time ago for alcohol consumption. And I said, is this a nasty remark? And no, you look great, and blah, blah, blah. So I only got one kind of, you know, snippy thing, which has been nice. So I'll see you tomorrow. Make peace, make good memories, and we'll have a good time tomorrow when I see you, okay? It's going to be an interesting week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.